Here's some good advice.
Hi, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Come with me as I wander the country in search of valuable vintage, amazing antiques, and cool collectibles. We'll buy, sell, and trade at antique malls, shops, and shows, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere people go to find really interesting things that just aren't made anymore. So come on, let's go! Hey everybody, it's George the Antique Nomad. I needed to restock after a very successful show in Michigan and get ready for the big Springfield, Ohio antique show. So I went to Louisville and met friends of mine, and we shopped the Fleur-De-Flea Vintage Market. It is truly an urban market. It is right under the bridge linking Kentucky with Indiana in downtown Louisville. So it feels urban, it sounds urban. Come along and take a look with us. Well, there is the skyline of Louisville in the back. This used to be the Bluegrass Tool Company, and they used to load everything up from the river, so it's now Humana. There are a lot of people out today. There's a few dogs out today, too. Let's see what we have here. This booth is a little more towards real vintage. There's a lot of stuff that's vintage looking here. Okay, these are fun, these little decanters. And the pour spout is pitcher. These are Japanese out of the 50s, and it looks like, well, they said German, but I'm thinking Japan because this looks to me like it would have had a paper label, and I don't see Germany in this. But it's a clever pair. And, you know, some bar collector for that price, I think that's a buy. Now, I just saw something on Primetime Treasure Hunter. He was saying that if you get back far enough, these old Mad magazines, there's some real sleepers, and I don't know which ones are which. I just know I got into lots of trouble for having that in school when I was a kid. I'm curious about how old the globe is. Jill said that that was something interesting looking to her, and I agree. I like the base.
Oh, the globe over here?
Yeah, let's see. We can tell pretty easily. Okay, the globe is $12. And the globe's pretty neat, actually. It's got a hole in it. Somebody apparently bombed part of Siberia.
Yeah, holes in there.
And it shows Germany is one country.
Look at this old travel.
Somebody took a big chunk out of it, but it's cool. Good to see you. I'm doing a little filming of my own, so we're sort of doing double duty here, and we have friends with us, so. Now, I'm always talking about how Belgian vases, if it's European and you don't recognize it and it's a drip glaze, it's probably Belgium, and here's an example of why this one actually is marked Belgian. I did a video last year from White Cloud, Kansas about this time, and the guy there knew all about marbles. You know, these are mostly typical colors. The ones that jump out at me as being worth researching are probably these, because they look like they're coated in a different way.
Yes.
And let's see if there's any other unusual color combinations. You got some old clay ones here. Those are kind of neat. Well, there's probably some that glow in there if we had a black light. Not the jade color. But sometimes these other ones that are these kind of green will glow. But, you know, off the top of my head, I think I would look up these if I were you. I think the rest of them are pretty much your normal ones, but these look just a little more interesting because they're clay and they're spattered. So there might be something to those.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope that helps. Yeah, water stain's one thing, but these big gaps.
Sander takes care of that. But getting this thing glued together and stuck together and it's uneven there.
Yeah.
For a novice like me, that's just too much.
Well, you've become pretty good in a short period of time, though, because I've seen some of what you've been restoring, and it looks great, and it seems like you're selling the heck out of it. Gosh, she's $12, and she looks like a nice old one. She's got one little chip on her hat, but
It's got awesome prices.
yeah, actually the prices are really good. It's only $12.
$19.59 on the end of it. So.
Yeah, and they're harder to do than they look, actually, because you've got to just I don't know what it is, but you're just supposed to drop it at just the right point, and it always wants to bounce out. That's the hard part. Yeah, you got it. That's the way to do it right there. Set it in the one you want. I think I'll get that for $12 so you can rent this. Let's see what's inside. Oh yeah, they have this all glamped up. Isn't this nice? Oh, just to look.
Oh, look, it's pink though. Look at the pink.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they've got the whole thing. Now this is cute. The Glamper Studio, it says. You can reserve it for
Yeah, she's got the pink.
spray tans, makeup, photo shoots. All right, well this is an urban market, so we've got a bunch of records.
There is another.
Online $3.25. Well, people really do like them with the bases.
But look, it says flea price $25. How can we?
Yeah, I think it's $35, but it's still it's very inexpensive. It's got a lot of water stains, I think.
So the water stains are why you think that's been marked down.
I think so, yeah. Now, as crazy as this looks, this was originally supposed to be on top of a metal stand as an ashtray, so this would have had a lid.
How are you?
Hi, fine, how are you?
Very 70s. Here's a case of mistaken identity. These green glasses are not Fostoria American, they're Indiana Whitehall. They didn't do that color green in Fostoria. And then we've got some Treasure Craft, the floral line, which you don't see too often, and it's coffee and a sugar. It's a little later in their line because they started doing wood handles in the 70s. In the 60s they used plastic with the chrome on it, but the chrome would wear off. $15 for the coffee. Those are cute. And I like this with the fish. $58. That's kind of full bore on that though. Square Melmac is fun. And then there's a bottle cap gal right there, and that one's cool. $35. That's not a bad price for the color and all. Ah, now here we go. Here's something that's much older than everything else here, and that's this Staffordshire piece. This one, you notice, doesn't really have much of a vent hole in that side, but it has one in the back. So this is going to be 19th century Staffordshire. It's only $55. Originally, these would have been sold in England, and then they became popular all over the world.
Oh, look, sweetie, there's
And they used to sell for a lot more than that.
Yeah, the $5 piece.
That is
I
beautiful.
like the little sculpture here. Doesn't really tell us anything about it, but it's a neat design. Very modern looking.
Guatemala.
Mostly just a paperweight, I guess.
This one does. It's got the little dolls in it.
And then this guy just has a great face. I don't know if he's even old, but I like him. He's a whistle. And next to him, the alligator. Or is it a platypus? It's a platypus. Look at that tail. And that's a whistle too. Those are fun. All of these seem to be whistles here. Okay, this pillow vase, which is comedy and tragedy, seems like something I should have seen before, but it's 1980s. It's clay art, and this was
I saw that
where they
too.
started doing masks. Yeah, this is 1980s, the clay art company. Yep. Okay, they have this marked on Real Tory art. This is the ear, nose, and throat specialist.
This is.
Paul Sawyer, okay.
Yeah, and he lived, one time he lived on the Kentucky River in a houseboat for 3 years. That's the reason he has all this insight into all
Oh,
of that.
how cool.
So this is,
Oh, that's neat. This sort of reminds me of Big South.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Big
right.
South Fork, yeah.
That's right.
Oh, it's beautiful there.
This is somewhere on the Kentucky River.
Oh, this is really neat.
But anyway, he's got, I guess I'm a fanatic. I don't know if you've seen, maybe you've seen some of Jill's stuff where the wall's covered in prints.
Yes.
That's Paul Sawyer.
Oh, really?
All of them, yeah.
Oh, how cool. This would sell in Florida for me. I don't love the Formica top. That's the only thing that gives me a little hesitation, but at 55, I'm imagining he'd take 45 or 50. We'll see. I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. We're getting close to Halloween. And these people are taking old jerry cans and galvanized stuff and turning them into jack-o'-lanterns. Now, those would be really fun with a candle in them. This is an embalming table, actually, because it's flat.
And it's got the channels.
Yes.
Blood and everything to run out.
So you can have quite a conversation over dinner if you buy this thing. How much is the embalming table? Let's see here. It is $4.50, and yes, they showed us an autopsy table.
This
This guy said to take a picture of him, and I am. He does elderberry syrup. Here's some stuff. These folks have advertising and records and a lot of things that are very popular now. Old oil cans, Petroliana. That's neat. I mean, I like the graphics. Old Bond. This looks like tobacco, which interests me. 2 for a nickel. $85. Yep, they have an idea of what they've got, I'm sure. But we'll take a look anyway, because you never know, and there's some fun stuff. I like this for early times, showing the Kentucky Derby in Churchill Downs. Ring for early times, $225. Of course, that's local interest, so that's going to be more. We see these bar lights a lot. They have $75 on it, which nowadays is about the right price, but you'll still see people selling them for $20 and $30 who haven't caught up to that. Aha, now we have some Dr. Pepper fans out there, and there's a whole stack of these. The pleasure drink, enjoy it with our fine food. Oh, these were tents. Okay, so this would have been in a restaurant. This would have folded over. I'm going to maybe pick a couple of these up depending on the price. We also have Hoedepol beer, an old patch from a delivery uniform. Oh yeah, that's a nice old one. 1962, back when that was the original logo. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, the floor fan is neat.
I didn't know this. I looked it up.
Any good books?
That waterfall
Being her.
on the river used to be.
Oh yeah.
There's one on hearts and visceral diseases.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun read. The Boy Scouts for Uncle Sam.
Right here. Oh yeah, there come the cicadas.
I just sold this Red Cap Ale sign myself. I think I got 85. They have 95 on this one. It says ignore prices marked. This is a lot of old polished up hardware.
Guys, let me know if I can make...
I do like gator heads, yes, because they sell well in Florida.
Yeah, no price on it.
I'm not headed there yet.
they're all different prices. People just been picking out piles. I'm making a deal like that.
Yeah. Nice machinist chest there. 150 he's got on that.
I gotta make a few.
He's got a lot of stuff. He's got keys, he's got knives, he's got... Oh yeah, the little boudoir lamps.
Light up in there, but they don't.
No, it's just up in here, and actually they originally would have had glass shades that were similar pattern to the dress. Wow, look at this. 19-teen Spelter, and she's got all the lamps, light, and everything. I'm sure she works. He's pretty good about making sure things work. Yeah, I love that guy.
It's like it's a translucent.
Yes, it's lucite, I believe, and that's a cane topper. The cane is 60. Well, actually, I guess it's a walking stick technically, and it's $65. So I showed a piece of Staffordshire earlier. Now these are much lighter weight, and under the tag it says made in China. So these are not original. These are very recent.
Oh, KC18.
Bad dog. Now for the reseller crowd, here's a $1 or less bin. But it seems to be mostly partial doorknob sets and things. Well, this one's complete. But it looks more like bits and bobs and parts. If you were restoring an old house, it'd be useful. Oh yes.
It's very Louisville stoneware-ish.
Well, it's essentially the same thing. He was the they added Louisville stoneware after 1970 to the mark, so the John L. Taylor is the earlier mark.
Got it right here.
We've got the typical ice bucket, Luray pastels. Luray are the caverns in Virginia, and they named Taylor named this Luray pastels because the pastel colors in the caverns are what inspired this 1930s dinnerware line. Yeah, it does look like an owl. It may not have been the intent, but they sure got that design. I think it might have been intentional. And then this rug is neat.
Oh, it did. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Oh, but George would like that. Look at this.
Oh, flamingos, yes.
I feel like I'm on The Price is Right.
That's right, exactly. Well,
He could use some lessons.
And the price is right at $275.
it is very pretty, and it's definitely worth $275 to the right buyer because of the etchings on the mirror. Well, that was fun. One of my viewers is here selling, so we're going to see her place in a little bit here. I think I'm going to go over here because I like the color of this juicer, which is $30. Not really a bad price for that shade. Wayne Husted did design these for Colony glass. It's only $25. It's a nice amber color. I don't think that cork is original though.
think it had a stopper.
Oh, these are the, what is this here?
These are to keep, they have little counter pieces that go on here. Sometimes they're missing. I don't see them in this set. If these were Bakelite, I would buy this. These are a little later in time, so they're not Bakelite. These are Bakelite, the holders. In all Bakelite, out west I get about 150 to 175 for them because they're more well known in the east, and so people out west haven't seen them as much. Well, Louisville, of course, is the place that baseball bats are made, the Louisville Slugger, but this one's called the Hercules. I'm not sure where this one was made, but Louisville Slugger has its museum right down the road from here. And this little guy, apparently Muhammad Ali met him, and this guy didn't fare too well in the exchange. And then this is cool because it is an old globe, it's got some dents. The age of the globe is going to be 1950s, I believe, because we see the French colonies. But what's neat is it's got all of these advertising logos for all of these airlines.
Adds to the charm, personally.
And that's what's neat about that one. If it was in better shape, I'd be wanting that. These old church lights are nice. If I hadn't just bought a bunch, I'd be interested. These are nice because they're not specific. They could have also been in a bank. I've seen them used there as well. YBM Company, Louisville, Kentucky. So this looks like it's some sort of a desk accessory from a company that originally made fire plugs here. Now these folks seem to specialize in 1970s era wicker and macrame. This is definitely very 70s, and a lot of this goes with what Laura Caldwell refers to as boho in design. This looks like a Navajo throw here. It's tight at the corners. The colors seem good. Does it have warp and weft? It seems to be. Now there are Mexican ones supposedly that look like this, but the fact that it's tight at the four corners, I think this is Native American. Now let's see if it's faded a lot. It looks like it has natural dyes. Priced at $26. You know, this would look really good with the basketry I'm doing in a lot of my shows now, and I think I'm gonna get it. I always like these little honeymoon sets. 20 sounds great, I'll take it.
Perfect. Cash or Venmo?
Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a quick break and thank you for watching this video. If you're enjoying it, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Also, please do subscribe because then you can click that bell to be notified of future videos. We have membership packages. There's a couple of different levels. We appreciate the support of our super fans who help us do extra bonus content. You can check that out by hitting the join button below or clicking the link in the description. And lastly, we want to ask you to check out our new channel, the Antique Nomad Live. That's live with an exclamation point, where we're doing additional content of a live nature, hauls, sales, bonus stuff. We'll have a lot of fun there too. So check us out here on the Antique Nomad and also on the Antique Nomad Live. Now let's get back to this video.
Louisville is taking great pains to reunite itself with its waterfront. There is the Belle of Louisville, which is big stern wheeler that you can sail up and down. Yep, so here's the eastern part. We're getting into more vintage things here. Western paint box is cool, and that's really big. $25 might actually be a pretty good price on that. Concrete. Take just a minute to look it up. But because it's such a big size, I think that might be good. Here's a bunch of typewriter ribbons. The Scotty holder is cute.
Oh yeah, these.
You know, those safes with the plastic dial, it's pretty easy to usually figure out the combination. Yeah, to get it open.
You have to open it up. Okay.
But you can usually figure out the combinations on those. Sometimes you might even be able to read it on the original tag, but that tag is gone. That might be a thing for 10 bucks. You know, I've got a bunch of sconces and shelves right now. I actually was curious about her beer advertising in the back there. And also, just because they're expensive.
Do you know how many vendors are there?
Looks like about 100.
I think there's 100.
Maybe. It can be deceiving. Quilt tops are $25, and this one's pretty good because it's got a star pattern. If she would do 20, I'd probably take that one. It looks like it's 1950s or 60s. That's what I was actually looking for. Yes.
That's what I thought.
But you have to have been born before 1962.
Well, that was a while ago.
We see this type of furniture, these old metal pieces that they're now reproducing, but we see some different ones like this style that don't come up often and are not being reproduced. They're a heavier gauge than the new ones, and these are late 40s, early 50s. We still see a lot of these in this part of the country. In most part of the country, they're long gone, either rusted away or thrown out, so this is a good place to buy them. This is a neat little bank. A lot of these were built into houses, but this one's freestanding. They look like cafe benches, but people would have these built in their house too. This one's priced at $250. I had a chance to buy a jadeite green one and didn't have room for it, and it was half that price, and boy, I wish I had. Oh yes, those chairs are great. It's I wish I could remember the designer who did these. They are designer from the 70s. Neat fencing mask. They barely fit my head. Of course, the Kentucky Derby's right down the road, so we see lots of Kentucky Derby glasses. These are more recent vintage. Just every metal sign is really top dollar these days. It's hard to find any to buy. I've always wanted a Wheel of Fortune. That's another thing on my bucket list. These look like reseller prices. Here is a row of $5 chairs, yours to repair. There's some nice ones. Most of them need caning. You know, prices on single chairs are rather low right now. It's a good time to buy if you have a need for them. At some point, people are going to realize chairs in good shape are harder to get hold of than tables. Croquet sets, this one's $100. This is a relatively recent one, 1980 or so. Croquet sets are just crazy expensive now. The child-sized chair, that one's really cute. You don't see the kid size very much at all. When Bobby Fischer won the chess championship against the Russian player in '72, that was the last time there was a big uptick in interest in chess things until now with the movie that came out last year. And so you would see chess pieces. Now these I don't think are, I think these are decanters because you can see the stopper there. Yeah. So they're kind of neat looking. They're only $20 each as decorative items. They're actually pretty cool if you have a place for avocado. Now this is cute. This is a true antique. This is Victorian, similar to an Adirondack frame. Now it's missing one of its leaves, unfortunately. The portable typewriter is a Kmart, so it was a cheap one when it was made, but it's a great color and it's in wonderful condition. Typewriters are kind of pricey in color right now. I wonder how much that is. This guy is cute. American bisque with that dry foot like that. I have collectors of metal buildings.
Making a documentary?
Well, I do YouTube videos. I'm a bunch of commemorative plates here. Famous old river boats from the Mississippi River. Pirates Alley in New Orleans, but the one I'm interested in is under here. These are Vernon kilns from the 1950s. This one's New Hampshire. It does not show the Old Man in the Mountain, which is no longer there. That would have been the reason to buy it, so I think I'll pass on that one. But this one, the Statue of Liberty, I have never seen this one, and I've seen a lot of Vernon kiln plates over the years. It's $10. I don't know whether that is a good deal or not, but I'm going to check it out because it may be. I've always been partial to these. This is Shawnee Pottery, believe it or not. It looks nothing like the whimsical stuff that they made earlier. In 1955, they realized the market was changing and they completely stopped all of the cute things and started doing nothing but modern. It's $16 though. It's probably priced about right. The frog is cool. Those are fun with the burlap. Yeah, those are, and they're only $1 a piece because you can't really dishwash them, and that's why people don't buy them these days as much because they will fall apart in the dishwasher.
Look at those.
Oh yeah. I have to say I'm not partial. I like the suitcase much better. Similar to the guy that would shake the cocktail and smoke would come out of his ears because he'd drink it. I look for these because I sell in Florida, and this is the original set. It's all the way up to Apollo 13. And then you've got the tumblers that go with. These sell well in Florida. The prices have gone up because people are collecting them now. I don't see a price on it. I'm going to find out. She also has Olympia beer, which sells in Washington State where it was made. And then the Playboy mug, they've only got 9 on that. I think there might be some room on her with the Leroy Neiman girl. So we're going to take a look and see if we can put these together. I am surprised how many interesting rattan and bamboo pieces there are. I never think of that in Louisville. This one is sold. That's Hager, absolutely. They got somewhere around $100 for it. There's a lot of cool purses in here. Now I suspect they're not cheap because I think she knows what she's got, but she's got Enid Collins. She's got Caro Nan. Enid Collins is 65, 80, but they're in great condition and they have all the stones and that's about what they're worth.
Oh, look at this one.
Yep, Bicentennial. I haven't seen that before. The owl is 45. That is not a bad price, but that's because the strap is starting to go. And then the Roadrunner. They're all really cool. They're very saleable. $75, and that's also a Dorset because this one's got the Dorset label. You can tell by the clasp, it's absolutely, yeah, all 3 of these are.
My favorite is the little white t-shirt.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cute. I like the stars in it, yeah. Yeah, they're really neat. Speaking of things made in Louisville you wouldn't expect, disco balls are made in Louisville. That's where they came from.
Yeah.
I'm going to show this because you're going to find a lot of these out in the wild right now because these were done by Anchor Hawking in the 1980s and you see them in a whole bunch of different colors. So when you see this,
that blue is interesting.
yeah, it's a nice color and the stuff was nicely made. It's a fired on color. It's not in the glass, it's on the glass. So they will scrape if you're not careful, but they're coated so the color's on the inside. They are something that are turning up at estate sales because they look 30s, but they're from the 80s. They have a bunch of 70s and 80s glassware, but they also have a whole bunch of lamps. And there's another one of these Anchor Hawking vases that I'm going to show you. This was another line they did in the 80s that you'll see all over the place in various colors. And again, the color is fired on. See how it gets weaker at the bottom?
Another one with it's like painted on, right?
Painted on, and this was Anchor Hawking about 1985. And they are coming up out of estates all over the place now, along with a whole lot of groovy lamps. All right, well, let's see what they've got in here, because there is some vintage here, particularly on this side. Panther lamp is cool. It's got a good shade. The shade's a little damaged. And then this one base, this is a Kanawa. It's just like the Ewers they made, but without a handle. You don't really see it without the handle very often. These wallbirds, I've sold these before. They have 50 each on them, but they were meant to stay together as a set. Anytime you see the old fans with brass, they're going to be a lot more money. This one's $160, 1920s vintage. These are a Franciscan pattern I always liked, the Metropolitan pattern. I've always liked square dishes. The prices are not bad. I think it's a little hard to find a whole set in this area, but if you went to the West Coast, you could probably match them. Now, I definitely want to check these because they're on a low shelf and they don't seem quite like here. The woman with the hibiscus is the good one. She's Marwal. She's priced at $35. She's got a little scrape on her cheek, unfortunately. And look at the clown bookends. These are priced at $50 for the pair. They have Blinko question mark. They could also be Viking. I don't believe Blinko made clowns. I want to check this out because it's pottery craft, but it's a second.
It was really fun shopping at the urban flea market. Fleur-De-Flea also has a retail location now. They started out only doing these shows under the bridge, and it grew, and now they have a permanent location year-round. They also do shows in an area called Paristown, so check out Fleur-De-Flea if you're in the Louisville area. They do several events during the year, and they do have their regular market that's open all the time. In the meantime, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Please check out my information and my links for things like memberships or for access to my live channel. Also, please do check my other social media links. And if you are not already subscribed, please do so that you can click that bell to be notified of future videos. We'll see you again with more adventures from the world of antique and vintage soon. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me again in the fun and fascinating antique community here where online meets the real world. Please click the subscribe button below, click the bell to be notified when new videos upload, leave a comment below, and hit thumbs up to like this video. Links to our online social media daily posts and our items for sale are in the description. This is George at the Antique Nomad. Bye for now.